The night of chaos. The city was not the same anymore. 1 week ago, life was normal. People walked to work, children played in the streets, and lights shone bright in the night. But now, everything was broken. Shops were closed, streets were empty, and the sound of sirens was everywhere. I was walking fast, trying to find a safe place. My name is Anna, and I never thought I would see my city like this. The sky was dark, not only because of night, but because of smoke. Cars burned on the road. Windows were broken. I felt fear in every step. The news said there was no control. Groups of people ran wild, breaking, stealing, fighting. No one could stop them. The police were gone. The city was chaos. I held my small bag close to me. Inside, I had water, bread, and a photo of my parents. They lived far away, but now I could not reach them. The phone stopped working yesterday. I felt so alone. Then, in the middle of the empty street, I saw him. He was standing near an old bookstore, looking around, as if he was waiting for someone. His face was tired, but his eyes were calm. In this world of fire and fear, he looked different, safe, human. "Are you lost?" he asked, his voice low but strong. I wanted to run. I did not trust anyone, but something in his eyes made me stay. "Yes," I whispered. "I am trying to find a place. Safe." He nodded. "I know one. Come with me. My name is Daniel." My heart was beating fast. I did not know if I could trust him, but staying alone was worse. Around us, I could hear glass breaking, people shouting. The chaos was coming closer, so I followed him. We walked through dark streets, past shadows that moved like monsters. My steps were shaking, but Daniel walked steady, never looking back. I wondered who he was, why he helped me. Finally, we reached a small building with a heavy door. He opened it with a key, and we went inside. The air was cold, but quiet. For the first time in days, I felt a little safe. "This is my uncle's workshop," Daniel said. "Nobody comes here. We can stay tonight?" I sat down on the floor, holding my bag. He gave me some water. For a moment, it felt almost normal. But outside, the city screamed with fire and fear. I looked at him again. In this broken world, maybe he was the only light. I did not know him, but I felt something, a small hope, hidden inside the night of chaos. And I wondered, in this world that was falling apart, could love still live? The workshop. The workshop was quiet. But silence in this city was not safe. I sat on the floor, holding my knees close to my chest. Daniel walked around, checking the windows, locking the back door, making sure we were hidden. His movements were fast, like he had done this before. The room smelled of oil, wood, and old metal. Tools were everywhere, covered in dust. There was one small lamp on the table, giving soft yellow light. Outside, I could still hear the city crying, distant screams, broken glass, and the sound of fire. "Try to rest," Daniel said. "We can stay here until morning." Rest? How could I sleep when the world outside was falling apart? But his voice was calm, and I wanted to believe him. "Why are you helping me?" I asked. My voice was quiet, almost a whisper. He stopped and looked at me. His eyes were serious, but kind. "Because I don't want to be alone," he said simply. Those words stayed in my heart. In a city full of fear, he admitted something honest, something human. Maybe he was as lost as me. We shared the bread I carried. He gave me half of his apple. It was not much, but for a moment it felt like a dinner between friends. I almost smiled. Almost. Then suddenly, there was a sound. Knocks. Heavy, angry knocks on the door. My body froze. My heart stopped. Someone was outside. Daniel raised his hand, telling me not to move, not to speak. We listened. The knocks became stronger. Then a voice shouted, rough and dangerous, "We know you're inside. Open the door." I shook my head, fear running through my whole body. Daniel's face was pale, but he stayed calm. He took a metal bar from the floor and held it tight. The men outside laughed, a cruel sound. They kicked the door, once, twice. The wood shook. I covered my mouth, trying not to cry out loud. "They will break in," I whispered. "Not yet," Daniel said. His voice was firm. "Stay behind me." The kicks grew louder. The lamp flickered. I could see shadows moving outside the window. 3 men, maybe more. I felt hopeless. The workshop, which felt safe minutes ago, now felt like a cage. And then, silence. The kicks stopped. The laughter faded. We waited. Seconds felt like hours. Finally, Daniel peeked through a small crack in the window. He whispered, "They are gone." But I knew they would come back. This city had no rules anymore, no law, no mercy. Daniel sat beside me on the floor. His hand brushed against mine, not on purpose, but it made me feel less alone. "We must leave tomorrow," he said. "This place is not safe anymore." I nodded, my throat dry. I wanted to believe we could survive. I wanted to believe we could escape the city. As I looked at him in the dim light, I felt something new inside me. Fear, yes, but also a strange warmth, a connection, a promise that maybe, even in chaos, we were not completely lost. And I knew, from now on, my story was tied to his. Escape into the dark. Morning never really came. The sky was gray, full of smoke. The air smelled of fire and dust. I had not slept all night. Every sound outside made me jump, afraid the men would return. Daniel gave me a small smile, trying to calm me. "We leave now," he said. "The city is not safe in daylight." Too many eyes. I followed him out of the workshop. The street was empty, but I could feel danger hiding in every corner. Broken cars stood like skeletons. A dog barked in the distance, then stopped. "Where are we going?" I asked. "To the subway," he answered. "Underground is safer. Maybe we can find a way out of the city." The subway? I remembered it from before, busy trains, people rushing, laughter, voices. But now it was silent, dead. I wasn't sure if I wanted to see what was down there. We walked fast, avoiding open roads. Twice we had to hide when groups of men passed, shouting and carrying weapons. My hands were shaking, but Daniel never let fear show. Finally, we reached the entrance. The stairs down were covered in dust and trash. The lights were broken. A cold wind came from the dark tunnel below. "Stay close," Daniel whispered. We stepped down into the darkness. The city noise faded above us, replaced by deep silence. Each step echoed. I felt like the shadows were watching us. The station was empty. Old posters hung on the walls. The ticket machines were broken. A smell of wet stone and iron filled the air. "Here," Daniel pointed to a corner where some benches were still standing. "We can rest for a moment." I sat down, breathing hard. My body was tired, but my mind was worse. Every sound made me afraid. The dripping water, the soft rumble of the tunnel. Then we heard it, a noise far away, slow steps. Someone or something was in the tunnel. Daniel stood up, holding the metal bar again. His face was tense, ready. I wanted to run, but where? We were trapped underground. The steps grew closer. I held my breath. Then out of the shadows a figure appeared. It was not a man, or at least not anymore. Clothes torn, skin pale, eyes empty. He walked slowly, like a puppet without life. His hands reached out, shaking. I froze. My heart screamed. "What is that?" I whispered. Daniel pulled me behind him. "Don't look. Move back." The figure moaned, a sound full of hunger and pain, and behind him I saw more shadows moving. More of them. We had no choice. Run! Daniel shouted. I grabbed his hand and we ran into the dark tunnel, our steps loud against the stone. My chest burned, fear pushing me forward. Behind us, the creatures followed, their cries echoing through the empty subway. We didn't know where the tunnel led. Maybe deeper into danger, maybe to freedom. But I knew one thing. I would not let go of his hand. In this world of chaos and fear, Daniel was the only thing keeping me alive. And maybe the only thing worth living for. The last light. We ran until our legs could not move anymore. The tunnel grew narrow, and finally we found a small room, maybe an old control station. Daniel pushed the heavy door closed behind us. Inside it was dark and cold. My chest was on fire from running. I could still hear the creatures in the distance, their cries echoing through the tunnel. But for now, we were safe. Daniel leaned against the wall, breathing hard. Even in the dim light, I could see his face was tired, but his eyes still strong. He looked at me, and for the first time since the chaos began, he smiled. "You're safe," he whispered. I shook my head. "No one is safe here?" My voice broke. "I don't know how long we can survive." He stepped closer, his hand brushing against mine. "Then we survived together." The words were simple, but they filled me with warmth. My fear did not disappear, but it changed. It became something softer, something I could carry, because he was with me. I wanted to speak, but instead I rested my head against his shoulder. For a moment, the world outside did not exist. There was only the sound of our hearts, beating in the dark. I closed my eyes and whispered, "If love can live here, maybe we still have hope." And in the silence of the ruined city, holding on to each other, we waited for the dawn. In the dark tunnel, Daniel held my hand. The city above was lost, the world broken. But in his eyes, I saw light. Even if tomorrow never came, tonight we were together, and that was enough.